Hi everybody. When you introduce one of the most famous operatic songs ever written, you've got to do it in such a way that you, the viewer, will understand. I'm going to introduce you to the bio surrounding Nessun Dorma, a very small summary of it. Check my description for a further longer version of what the song is about. It comes from an opera, and I'm going to tell you a bit about the opera itself to give you a flavor, because then when I talk about the lyrics, it'll make sense to you. And whilst I'm talking about the lyrics, I'm also going to include a little bit more bio surrounding the lyrics of the opera, so it all ties in. Me explaining, you understanding the opera, learning a bit more about Nessun Dorma, and realizing I've learned something today. You're also going to learn about the wonderful Jonas Kaufman, whom I introduced on the attached video, Jonathan Anton's video. Please check that out. He does the most incredible version of, well, I won't tell you, check it out. But today's focus is on Jonas Kaufman from Germany. I recently came across him and I said, oh my God. It's one of those voices that captivates you and just enthralls you. And I've listened to maybe several of his songs so far, and I said, if I don't stop, I won't have enough for the year to react to first time like this one. It's my first time reacting to a live version of this song from Berlin. And I thought I better stop. But he's Germany's #1 tenor, and you'll see why. And I know it's going to blow my head off when I hear this version, because every single interpretation, every single song I've listened to, his voice is so captivating. It's truly beautiful beyond words. And not since discovering Jonathan Antoine's wonderful development as a singer and a tenor, in my estimation, become one of the world's superstars, have I been so blown away and said, why didn't I discover Jonas before? Now, that's enough in Jonas for now. Let's go to Nessun Dorma, famous, made by Pavarotti, and who popularized the piece beyond the opera world in the 1990s following his performance of it for the 1990 World Cup, which captivated that global audience outside the operatic world. Both Pavarotti and Placido Domingo released singles of it, reaching #2 in the UK, and it appeared on the best-selling classical album of all time, The Three Tenors in Concert. And the three tenors, which includes José Carreras, performed the aria at 3 subsequent World Cup finals in 1994 in Los Angeles, 1998 in Paris, and 2002 in Yokohama. Since 1990, many crossover artists have performed and recorded it. And it's been sung in many films and television, as we know. But today, I introduce you to the wonderful German, Italian-sounding, multilingualist, absolutely fantastic operatic singer who's going to sing his version of it. And that's my pleasure to do that. And he is from Munich. He's renowned for extraordinary techniques. He sings in German, French, and Italian. He's charismatic. He's a range of emotions. And Kaufman was raised in a family of music lovers, but not professional musicians. But still, he went on to astound not just Germany, but all of Europe. And now that I found him, I hope he astounds you as you find him through my channel. And that is the background of the singer we're going to get today. That is all I need to tell you about him, because his voice speaks volumes. It really does. Now, when it comes to Turandot, what is Turandot? It's the opera, everybody, that this song comes from. And I tell you, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And it's one of the most demanding operatic roles of all, and hardly any music is as close to our hearts as the moving pleas and complaints of the sacrificing Louis Puccini, who ignites a true whirlwind of emotions in this wonderful opera, which even the cold heart of the icy princess in the end of the opera is melted by the fire of love. Isn't it beautiful to have a wonderful, wonderful love song? But in the beginning of the opera, Turandot, the main princess, is the beautiful yet cruel daughter of the emperor, Otto. Now, the scene is set, it's dusk in Peking, and from the top of the wall, the imperial palace, a mandarin announces tourists exit to the people. She says, the princess, she'll marry whichever suitor of blue blood manages to solve 3 riddles that she devises. Okay? So that's the premise, that's the start of the opera, that's what it's about. And it's about this person coming forward to win her love. Now, the opera was completed by the student of Giacomo Puccini because he died suddenly in 1924. And it was completed, and quite controversially in some aspects, by Franco Alfano in 1926. And it's set to the music and the original thought of Giuseppe, Adami, and Renato Simoni. And its best known era is Nessun Dorma, which I'm about to play. So let's take it away with the wonderful Jonas, his version singing live in Berlin. Then we'll go back to the lyrics, and I'll surround it with a little bit more of the act of the opera that it comes from. Enjoy, everybody. It's my first time listening, and I have looked forward to this all week. I'm sorry about the light coming in so strongly, but this is because it's a wonderful sunny day out there. The curtains are totally drawn, and yet I'm looking at myself here, but it's not about me. It's about the artist. So let's listen to him.
Il nome mio
Aren't you just in love with him? Oh my God, he's brilliant. I got tingles, and I have to say, full of emotion, of joy, bringing him to your attention. I'm getting whiter and whiter here, I've noticed. And there's nothing I can do, everybody, because the sun. Oh, give me 1 minute while I disappear and make the sun just a bit so I can be focused on as well. Hold on. Oh. Now everybody, here I am back, a bit more focused, because we have to talk about that performance. I am delighted from Antoine's video to have linked Jonas to that, and vice versa. I've also linked Antoine's video to this, because if you're German, you must listen to Antoine's voice as well, and vice versa. If you're English, you must listen to Jonas, which is what I've just done. Now back to the opera itself and the lyrics, because we don't want to waste too much time, make this video cut short. I don't, because I only have 15 minutes per video. So we go through. In the act before the era, Calaf has correctly answered the 3 riddles put to the Princess Turandot's prospective suitors, because remember everybody, it comes from the opera Turandot. And she, the premise, as I said before, was all about the person who's going to fall in love and she'll marry must solve 3 riddles. So Calaf has correctly answered the 3 riddles. None of the less she recoils at the thought of marriage to him. Imagine. And Calaf offers her yet another chance by challenging her to guess his name by dawn. As he kneels before her, the Nessun Dorma theme makes its first appearance in the opera, to his words, Il mio nome non sai, my name you do not know. She can execute him if she correctly guesses his name. But if she does not, then she must marry him. The cruel and emotionally cold princess then decrees that none of her subjects shall sleep that night until his name is discovered. If they fail, all will be killed. As the final act in the opera opens, it is now night time, and Calaf is alone in the moonlight palace gardens, and in the distance he hears Turandot's heralds proclaiming her command. His ear begins with the echo of their cry and a reflection on Princess Turandot. Now the lyrics, everybody. None shall sleep, not even you, O princess, in your cold bedroom, watching the stars that tremble with love and with hope. But my secret is hidden within me. No one will know my name. Oh no. On your mouth I will say it when the light shines. And my kiss will dissolve the silence that makes you mine. Now just before the climactic end of this particular act, a chorus of women in the opera is heard singing in the distance. And they sing, no one will know his name, and we shall have to, alas, die. Calaf, now certain of victory, sings, vanish, O night. Fade, you stars, at dawn I will win. Now in the performance, the final Vincero, because I will win in Italian is Vincero, that's what you hear in the opera in Italian, of course, it's not English, but the English translation is I will win. Now, as I said, in the final Vincero, a sustained B4. Now, I want to explain the notes, because everybody says, oh, the powerful note at the end, but I want to explain that. Features a B4 followed by the final note, an A4, sustained even longer. Now, although Puccini, remember, he originally devised and wrote this opera, but it died suddenly, and his student took over. But let's get back to, although Puccini's score did not explicitly specify that either note should be sustained, because in the original score the B is written as a 16th note, while the A is a whole note. Both are high notes in the tenor range. And the only recording to follow Puccini's score exactly was first sung, believe it or not, by I think the surname is Sinna, who was a French-Italian dramatic soprano, and also by Francesco Merli, who was an Italian opera singer, particularly associated with heavy roles such as Otello, Canio, and Calaf, and he ranks as one of the finest dramatic tenors of the interwar period. And conducted at the time of Puccini was Franco Gioni, and he was an Italian conductor and violinist, and he graduated from the Parma Conservatory and became a violinist for the Parma Teatro and the Augusto in Roma, and he began a conducting career in 1913 and conducted in many opera houses. Now, the student, when Puccini died, the student Alfano completed that Act 3. The Nessun Dorma theme makes its final triumphal appearance at the end of the opera, and the theme Olma makes a concluding reappearance in Lusano's Bierio's later compilation. This having been an express intention of Puccini's, but in a more subdued orchestration. Now, it was over time that dramatic ending and high note came into existence, but it wasn't in the original score. It was just high enough, and then it was to finish. But over the years, it just became more ingrained as a dramatic high note at the very end that we all heard. So that is because the lyrics self-explain themselves, and I have surrounded it with you more or less feeling like you're at the opera, having it explained to you. And I hope for the first time you have a better understanding of Nessun Dorma, where it was popularized, which was the World Cup by Pavarotti, but where it comes from, which is Puccini's wonderful opera. If you ever get a chance to see it, I believe it was many a times it was shown in New York, and tickets were unattainable every time it's showcased, and I'm not surprised. I would love to see it, and I hope I do in my lifetime, get to see it in Italy, sung by Italian people. I just feel you can't beat the Italians singing their own songs in their own settings, being I don't know who by, but also if I ever hear of Joseph singing this, Joseph, why am I saying Joseph? That's my middle name. Jonas Kaufman singing in an opera, I'll be there in a flash. Or Jonathan Antoine, I'll be there in a flash. But I hope you now get a better understanding of one of the most famous operatic songs in the world. And it's been a pleasure to bring it to you and explain it. Thank you for listening as always. I hope you follow the links in my video to this wonderful singer, and Jonathan Antoine, if you haven't heard of him before. And I wish you peace, love, and happiness.